Hi, my name is Soil.
How you doing?
Good.
That's good. Yep.
Say your name. My name is Kaden.
Kaden, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
What did your parents think about you leaving home?
My dad was for it, but my mom was against it. She didn't like the idea very well. So, but yeah.
While you were on duty, what was a typical day like?
A typical day?
Yeah.
When I was on the ship, I was on an amphibious ship. It was called the USS Fort Fisher. It was an LSD, and I was a storekeeper. And I had I had 9 storerooms that had all the parts that it took to maintain the ship and run the ship at all times.
Who was there to greet you when you came home?
Oh, my parents, my mother and father.
What is your service date and rank?
I was in from 1974 to 1978, and I was an E4 when I left.
Is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to talk about?
No, I mean, I took 2 Westpac cruises. I went overseas twice on my ship, 8 months at a time, and we went all over the West Coast and went overseas to Japan and China, Korea. So we were all over the place. Any more questions?
And what's your age and birthday?
Pardon?
What's your age and birthday?
My age and my birthday?
Yep.
I'm 67 years old, and I was born November 18th, 1955.
So do you have any other questions you wanted to ask? Oh, come on.
Okay. What were you doing before you joined the service?
What did I do?
Yeah.
I worked at Coca-Cola Bottling Company in Mattoon.
What was the food like when you went there?
The food on the ship? Oh, just about like everything else. Some days it was really good, and then some days, you know. But it was overall very, very good. We had excuse me, 3 meals a day. We had coffee whenever we wanted coffee and drinks, and we had if we didn't like what they were serving, we had a store there and we could buy food, potato chips, candy
Like
bars and things of that nature.
Stuff.
Yeah. If you didn't like the food, then you had a chance to get something else, you know, and it's like, well, an option. I'd say, yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
Now, is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to talk about?
Here, do you want to look at the questions? See if you can come up with more questions.
Yeah.
What did you do in the days or weeks after you got home?
Out of the service,
Yeah. Once you finally finished going out of Navy.
I joined Lakeland College. They sent me information while I was still in the Navy. We had career counselor in there, and they sent me information from Lakeland College, and I attended Lakeland College, and I went into law enforcement, and later on became a police officer.
What kind of supplies did you use or carry when you were in the Navy?
Everything from bearings to cleaning supplies, every part that it took to run the ship at all times. I had a storeroom in the forecastle of the ship, the very tip of the ship, all the way down, like 3 flights down. And people would come to me and they'd have a request and they would say, I need a bearing for this, or I need this, or I need mops. And I would take that and I would go to the storeroom that contained those and I would go get those for them.
What did you do in the days or weeks after you got
She already
home?
did that.
Oh.
Went to college.
What kind of job? This one? Did you find that your military service helped you either personally,
Just say it now.
Professionally.
Before I graduated Lakeland College, I did a internship with the Mattoon Police Department. And right after I got done, they had the test for police officer, and I took the test and I got hired as a police officer right after I graduated Lakeland College.
I think that's all.
Boys, do you have any questions that you're curious about? About joining the military? Do you have anything funny, William, or any interesting stories to say?
Oh, we went overseas, like I said, twice, and we went to dry dock once. A couple of times we went to Seattle, Washington. They called it visit ship, so we went up the coast and we went up the Columbia River on our ship. We picked up a pilot and we went through the Columbia River. Beautiful up there in Washington. Anyway, we ended up in Seattle and they had a food fest there, and they invited us to the food fest and to visit ship. And the first day we went there, it rained a lot. So we were outside and we were all over the ship and different places answering questions for people and things of that nature. And before we got out there, they told us what we needed to do and where we needed to be. And everybody was talking. They said, oh, it's raining outside. There's nobody gonna show up here. There's no way. We got out there and they were all the way down the pier, just all kinds of people, just a lot of people. There in Seattle, that's nothing for it to rain there. So they were used to all the rain and stuff. So, but we went there a couple of times and that was a lot of fun. And we went to Portland, Oregon. We went through locks and went to Portland, Oregon. And that was pretty neat. And we went all up and down the West Coast and overseas, and overall it was a very good experience and I would do it again. I had a great time while I was in there. I was in for 4 years. So, I mean, and it was always an adventure. So anytime somebody needed a part or something like that, they came and got me and I went and got the part for them. It was day or night. So we were always on the ship, and we were out at sea. We stayed on the ship. And so, I mean, we had movies and a lot of us read books and things of that nature while we were there. And so, I mean, it was a very good experience that I had when I was in there.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part? Oh, I think when we would leave the pier and go out to sea, they called it the sea and anchor detail. And when I was there, I wore a headset and I communicated from the captain to the bosun, which was the guy that outside that took all the ropes off and the chain and all that, the anchor. And the captain would command us to get underway, and I would tell the bosun, and the bosun would relay back what he was doing. And so I was kind of the go-between guy, but I was always the first one into port, and whenever we went to port, because I was on the very point of the ship where you see that, and you see the flag up there. I'm standing right there at the very point of the ship, and I thought that was pretty cool. I always enjoyed that. So.
Do you do anything special on the holidays or anything?
Oh, no, it was kind of a relaxing thing that they had usually on Sundays they had brunch, so you could get breakfast or lunch, and overall it was a pretty good atmosphere. And I mean, you know, we had a crew of about 320 men, and we transported Marines, and they had the same amount of Marines as we had on our crew. And then we always had a team of the UDT, the SEAL team. We had a SEAL team on there. They were something else. pretty rough guys. I mean, we'd go out to sea and we'd have operations. We had operations off Korea, and these guys would hang out of a helicopter. They'd have that rope around them, and they would be high in the air hanging off this helicopter, and they would just drop them into the sea, and they just drop down in the sea, and you could just watch them doing that stuff. And then they'd pick them up with a boat, and we did that, you know, a couple times when we were over there, and that was very interesting to watch. And yeah, so we had a pretty good crew. Our ship was amphibious, and we had ballast tanks in our ship, and that way we could raise and lower the back end of the ship. And the Marines would have these little, I don't know if you saw they're little amphibious cars like things, and they drive off the back of the ship, and then they land in the water, and they kind of look like a bobber, and then they bob a little bit, and then they take off, and then they land on the shore like that. So they have a crew of Marines on there, and they're the first ones on the land when we arrived like that. So that was pretty cool to watch that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What was your rank?
I was an E4.
What's an E4?
Well, there's 1 when you start, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. Yeah.
Do you keep in touch with any of your Navy buddies?
No, I haven't seen anybody or heard from anybody. A really funny experience, I'll tell you this one. I won't take all your time, but anyway, we were in Japan, and we get to go off the ship whenever we don't have duty and stuff. So I went off ship, and I was trading my American money for yen for Japanese money. And I was standing in the line to exchange money, and I looked over and I saw this guy standing there. And I said, I know that guy. His name was Tony. And I said, hey, Tony. I said, what are you doing? And he said, oh, hey, Bill. And we had talked for a long time. We went to high school together. And we were in Yokosuka, Japan at the same time. So they had a Pizza Hut over there. And so we got our money. And I said, hey, you want to go out and eat or something? Oh, yeah, let's go to Pizza Hut. So we went to Pizza Hut there in Yokosuka, Japan. That's pretty cool. But I mean, you would never think, you know, they say it's a small world. He was on a aircraft carrier there at the same place that I was. And so that was pretty neat. I like that. But yeah.
Anything else you guys want to ask?
Not really.
Answered all your questions?
Okay.